Thanks for dropping in here, you guys. Greatly appreciate it. So today we are looking at my current quail. I have 4 of them, 1 male and 3 males. The breed is a type of jumbo brown Tornix or Cordonix. Don't know how to actually pronounce it, so I'll apologize in advance. But they're actually a result of me finding an egg when I was at work. My work actually takes me from various places around the valley here in Arizona, and happened to find this egg in the front yard in the rocks by some plants. So I didn't know any idea of what kind of a bird it was. I had a general idea because I'd seen some quail in the area, so I assumed that it was a quail egg, but I didn't know how long it was there or if it was even a viable egg. Now, I did some research when I got home to try to see if I could find any kind of information about quail, especially Gambel's quail, because that's what I was assuming it was. And I couldn't find anything, concrete that would give me some specific information in regards to the incubation period, or how much humidity I'd need and the kind of temperature that I'd need to have to be able to make this work. Went up to some various sites, found kind of a general explanation about the eggs, that they may have like a 21-day or even up to like a 24-day incubation period. I'd hatched some chicken eggs in the patch, so I kind of knew what I was doing in regards to hatching, but the incubator that I had, it did have a pamphlet that mentioned that they run about the same temperature and about the same time frame as an actual chicken. So I said, you know what, to heck with it. If it hatches, it hatches. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not going to be too sad, but if it does hatch, awesome, great. We'll see where this goes. The really nice and fun thing about this is that I had thought about in the past about having quail myself and getting rid of my chickens, just so I could be able to have like a portable, sustainable food source that would A, give me meat, as well as B, provide me with eggs, but as well as being a quiet bird. As you probably know, chickens are noisy. They're loud. They like to cackle every time that they lay an egg. But quail, from what I've observed so far, are very, very quiet. You barely even know that they're in the house. My male, he'll sometimes like to crow once in a while, but he doesn't do it very often, but he's not very loud either. So it makes for a great pet from what I'm experiencing, and I'm loving the experience so far. They're really, really funny, cute, and they've got some awesome personalities. My current thought process through this was to put it in the incubator, and just to make sure that it wasn't alone or anything like that, that I would provide it with some chicken eggs. So here we go. Unfortunately, through this process, I was at work and didn't have the camera rolling and completely missed the quail hatching, but here's a couple of clips of chicks hatching. So when I did get home, the chick had hatched, but because it was so small, the other chicks were actually walking on it, and for fear of it getting killed, I had to isolate it temporarily until it was able to start walking a little bit. The chicks were getting so big, so much faster than the quail, it ended up still getting trampled. Even though it was extremely quick on its feet, it just was having a really, really hard time keeping up and keeping its head up. So I decided to go ahead and invest in some quail and separate this one from the chicks. To help it out and to keep it company, I invested in 5 3-week-old quail in hopes to keep it happy and try to give it kind of a more normal life with something of its own kind. Now, this little quail, we decided to go ahead and give it a strange name. We called it Jumpy. anytime that we'd take it out, hold on to it, it wouldn't just run around like a chick. It would jump really, really high and jump around everywhere and try to escape. So the name kind of stuck, and that's where we kind of went from there. Me and the kids especially hoped that we could hold on to this little guy, but it was becoming more and more apparent that as the weeks went on, I just wasn't given enough time to try to domesticate it, and I didn't want to get any of the paperwork involved to try to go ahead and raise it if it was going to be as wild as it was getting compared to the quail that I had, which were completely docile, didn't even try to run away or anything, and they were just completely chill. This is going to be Jumpy's last little meal with us. He or she is now 6 weeks old, and we're going to go ahead and let him go out in the wild. Here we are at the Riparian Preserve, on our way to drop off little Jumpy. All right, we're getting closer. Nope, we're going to the left. And this is the spot where we're gonna let little Jumpy go. Nice, quiet little area. That's where we saw some quail last time. So, should be very beneficial for a little Jumpy.
Let's let it go in the water.
No, we won't let it go in the water. Unfortunately, during this next part, we didn't get the camera rolling, and right when we opened the box, Jumpy took off. You see little Jumpy right there. And Jumpy's doing just fine, finding all the seeds that it wants. There goes little Jumpy. Yep. You see little Jumpy right there. Hi, Jumpy. Be a good little quail.